like it. Now, I had to kick her out of my fantasy file because her brain is full of, I don't know what it's full of. Nonsense. Republican conspiracy theories, and just some of the silliest and most obvious and paper-thin political views that I've ever heard in the media. So now she's saying, we need more guns. That makes sense. That's what all of the Republicans are saying, Tracy. They all say the same thing. Because they've all been, their brains have been taken over by the folks with the National Rifle Association, all these Second Amendment organizations. And this is how they view it. I've been saying it to you since it happened. For many people, the only prescription on how to deal with the mass proliferation of guns is the mass proliferation of guns. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. We are living human experiments, basically. You know what I'm saying? We're just numbers on a spreadsheet, right, in the hands of the chief financial officer for the various organizations that make up the Second Amendment lobby. That's it. That's it. Good morning, Caramia. Good to see you. Brent writes, that would make Mateen the GIlligan of the week, hands down. Yeah, Mateen. Omar Mateen goes into K Club. I saw a video last night, and it was put on Snapchat. The video was from a young woman who was a patron that now infamous night less than a week ago at the club known as Pulse in Orlando. And in the video, it's Snapchat, so you only get about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds at the most. It's very, very short. But it's just a series of cut scenes, right? So, like, the first scene is, like, people dancing. Hey, you know, it's just like a regular party. And whoever is holding the camera is out on the dance floor, and people are just dancing. I mean, I've been into clubs a million times, and it looks no different. And then there's a scene where the phone with the camera lens is on the young woman who's holding it, and you hear gunfire, pop, 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 going off in the background. And she has this just crazy look on her face, like she's just terrified, and then it cuts off. Have you seen that? Tiffany writes, I agree with the library. No, pay for your own sex change. Okay. Okay, well, what about a vasectomy then? I mean, what's the difference? Like, I'm soon to get a vasectomy, okay? And I want my insurance to cover as much as they can, okay? What's the difference between deciding to get a vasectomy and deciding that you want to get a sex change operation? They're both elective operations. It's not something that is threatening to your health or threatening to your life. It's elective. So what's the difference? If you're listening from outside the 513 area, what we're talking about is that there is a transgender woman, I believe. Used to be a man, now becoming a woman. And she basically, you know, her story hit the news locally because she works at the public library system. And she wants to continue with a sex change, and the library's insurance will not cover it. Now, listen what's going to happen. Eventually, one day, they're going to cover it because that's where everything is trending in this country right now. Everything is trending toward that. But Tiffany says she agrees with the library. She don't pay it. Dale writes, why should the library health benefits pay for this he-she sex change? ? That's cosmetic surgery, isn't it? ? I don't know the details. I know it's elective. It's not something that I've got to get a sex change or I'm going to die. You may feel that way, but physiologically, anatomically, I guess I should say, that's not necessarily true. You'll be okay. You will survive it. Ed writes, NRA group are my GIlligans of the week. That's right. Absolutely. You know what? For that one, Ed, let me touch you up for that, bro. Just sit. And that's all we can get. Let's sit right back and you hear the tale of a group of fools called the National Rifle Association. I'll take that back. They're really not fools. However, I believe that their impact in the country overall is keeping us less safe. Karamia writes, I don't feel homosexuality is equal to racial discrimination. They can hide their sexuality. Karamia, you cannot hide your sexuality. It's very difficult to hide your sexuality. Because what if you get a new job and you decide that you want to put some pictures up in your office, or you want to put some pictures up in your cubicle? Okay. As soon as you put some pictures up of you in a same-sex relationship, boom, everybody knows your business. So what you're telling homosexuals is that they can't decorate their offices the way everyone else does. You know, they can't have these photographs or these keepsakes or, you know, these memories, right, in plain sight to motivate them through their day like heterosexuals. I've heard that argument many, many times, and I just don't feel like it's true. I mean, is someone's sexuality as obvious as someone's racial identity? Obviously not. Obviously not. But to say, oh, you can hide it, that's part of the problem. You shouldn't have to hide it. I mean, there was a time in this country where if you were in an interracial relationship, people looked down on you. They called it miscegenation. You might have put your life on the line depending on who you were and where you were. So you had people out there that essentially had to hide the love that they had with another individual because society had a problem with it. Was that right? That's just how I feel about it, Karamia. We can agree to disagree. But to me, I feel like there's a lot of similarities in terms of the tactics used to prevent homosexuals from, you know, moving forward, fully integrating in our culture, in our society on many different levels. And if you go back in history, I guarantee you that the grandfathers and grandmothers, the descendants of the individuals who are today so vehemently opposed to same-sex integration or homosexuals being alive, period. Their ancestors had a problem with black folks, man. It's the same it's the tyranny of the majority. You're not like us. You're different. We're the majority, so we're going to oppress you. We're going to dictate to you how you live in our spaces. Again, it's the same way it was done to black folks. Now, is the severity of the oppression the same? Of course not. Of course not. I mean, for homosexuals, they don't have anything close to a middle passage. And on a lot of levels, man, if you look at the median take-home pay, you know, in terms of wealth building for homosexuals, for the numbers I've looked at, they seem to be doing okay in terms of finances. But there's just so many other aspects to being an American citizen that it seems like on a daily basis, someone's trying to stop them. But that's just me. Kevin writes, Nate, do you think that these games may be fixed? Or the referees have been instructed to call more fouls on one team or the other? A while back, a referee got paid to do just that. The NBA makes more money if it goes to 7 games. I don't trust it. I hope I'm wrong. It's a good one. Everyone wants to know this morning. Everybody's saying the game is rigged. Here's what I would say. I do not believe that the games are rigged per se. I don't believe that. If you're the NBA, do they have the ability to influence referees on some levels? Yes, they do. But it would be very, very subtle. What I think happened last night is that the Cleveland Cavaliers were the aggressor. And if you watch any kind of basketball, you know, anything this year, anything last year, when you are the aggressor on offense and defense, things just kind of fall in your lap. Things just kind of go your way. And that's what happened to Steph Curry. He made a lot of bad decisions, and that's why he got so many fouls, reaching fouls. You don't play defense with your hands. You play defense with your feet. Steph Curry picked up at least 2 fouls last night because he was reaching with his hands. So, I mean, tell Steph to rub some dirt in the kid, grow up. It happens. Roger writes, I don't think it should be organized in this fashion. However, you are already permitted to carry. The key word in the law is concealed, thus giving up the element of surprise. As a carrier, your responsibility is to be prepared at all times. This allows for people to flaunt their weapons, which is not needed for the element of safety. Good morning, Robin. Good to see you. Kevin writes to Cara Maria, you are 100% right. John writes, the GIlligan of the week is the news media. He was in the water. He wasn't in the water. There were gator warning signs. There were no gator warning signs. He was 4 years old. He was 2 years old. There was so much misinformation. I don't know what to believe. Good flow, John. Great flow. Demi writes, good morning and go Cavs. Go Cavs. And good morning, Demi. John writes, and good morning. Brittany writes, good morning. How about them Cavs? Great game. It was an excellent game. Demi writes, my GIlligan is definitely Omar Mateen. Yeah, I can see where this is going. It's now been reported that Omar Mateen's wife, and I think she's going to be charged. It looks like, I've read some reports this morning, that he was actually texting with her while he was in the club. He had taken hostages. He had fired a few rounds already. The doors were barricaded. And he's texting his wife. Should she walk away from this? I don't know. Lawrence writes, the rig is all of these sports players' wives commenting on Twitter. It's always about the money. Tonika writes, there's nothing with making babies and cookies, LOL. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, maybe she's saying. You're absolutely right about that. Got some cookies in the oven. Carolyn writes, good morning, Chop Shop. Good morning, Carolyn. Jericho writes, good morning, Team NI and the new faces. Absolutely. Ms. D writes, Nate, you say it all the time about the Bengals. It doesn't matter how many games you win if you don't win a championship. Hashtag Cleveland is definitely in the house. Exactly. When it comes to certain sports franchises, the regular season is just a way for them to get you to come down there and buy popcorn and beer and whatever else you may purchase, okay? But the only thing that really matters for the Cincinnati Bengals to me is championship victories. Same thing with these two teams in the NBA Finals. Pat writes, Curry had a fit, throwing mouthpiece, shaking my head. Yeah, threw his mouthpiece and hit a fan in the head. Hit him in the face, as a matter of fact. If you go to an NBA game and one of the players hits you in the face with their mouthpiece, are you going to be mad? I'm going to be pissed. Man, come wipe this spittle off of me, man. How do you just throw your mouthpiece into the stands? I mean, what? I mean, that's like spitting into the stands. It really is. Not the same, but it's too close to it. Steph Curry, is he coming unglued? What are we witnessing? What are we witnessing? After his last foul number 6, he was removed from the game. Then he was ejected from Oracle because he started cursing at the ref. That was weak. That was bad. You know, he's cussing, using F-bombs, all kind of stuff. I'm reading lips. Then he takes out his mouthpiece and hits somebody in the face with it. That man, you know, listen, if you can afford to be ringside, to be that close, more than likely financially they're doing okay, unless they got those tickets free. But to working folks, that might be a lawsuit. Oh, you hit me in the eye. I got hit in the eye by Steph Curry. Right? The hell? That is crazy. Jericho writes, I'm late, so this may have been discussed already. Forgive me if so. During the game, did LeBron call Curry a little N-word when he blocked Curry's shot? What? He might have. Men talk like that when they're playing basketball. The more competitive it gets, the more competitive, we'll say, the language gets. Yeah. It gets real. It gets trill out there. It's trill. It's very real. But Curry was like a little kid. He was living up to the way he looks, like he hasn't gone through puberty yet. And I understand you're frustrated. It's game 6. You're about to lose, but it's over. Props to the Cleveland Cavaliers for playing excellent defense last night. And maybe Tyronn Lue knows what to do. Maybe. I had my issues with him. I've been telling everybody, like, nah. Deanna writes, a vasectomy is a form of birth control, just like a tubal ligation. I don't see having a sex change the same as a vasectomy. Well, here's my point, Deanna. They're both elective. It's both. They're both something that the individual who is going through the procedure